back to my channel. If this is your first time seeing me, hi, my name is Maya. I'm 16 years old and I'm a student pilot. Today's gonna be a really exciting video because it's gonna be my very first Q&A here on my YouTube channel. If you came from my TikTok or you've ever seen one of my TikTok videos, you know that I love answering questions. But TikTok only allows for short videos, so I never get to answer the questions thoroughly. So today, I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna be taking questions that you guys have asked me on TikTok and Instagram and answering them thoroughly on here. One last thing I want to say before I get into the questions is that all these answers are my opinion and my opinion only. I'm not speaking on behalf of my flight school or anything. And you might have a different opinion, and that's completely okay. We are entitled to have our own opinions. So let's jump into the questions. Okay, the first question. Where did you get funding for flight school? As many of you probably know, flight training is not cheap. So how am I affording to get through flight school? The thing that I always recommend to every student pilot out there is to apply for scholarships. I've gotten 2 scholarships so far, and it has helped me so much. One from the WPA, which is the Washington Pilots Association, and one from the AOPA, which I bet a lot of you are members of. I'm not going to be disclosing how much money I got from both of those scholarships. Let's just say that my entire summer and probably fall of flight training has been covered. Those scholarships were a big help, and also I do have a side business. I have my own pet sitting and house sitting business that I have quite a few clients for. I just go up to their house, watch their pets while they're gone, and that has helped a lot too. But of course, both of those don't cover all the stuff. When I started flight training, I was 15 years old, so I wasn't even legally able to get a job in the state where I live. So of course my parents have had to help, and I'm really grateful for that. Mom and Dad, if you're watching, I love you, thank you. Okay, next question. What did you get on your FAA written test? The reason I chose this question, even though it's technically like an easy answer, because I had a very interesting experience while taking my written test. Just to answer the question up front, I did pass it and I got a 90%, which is not as good as I wanted, but I'll take it. So the funny story about my FAA written test, and this should probably be a lesson to all you guys. When they say bring a government-issued photo ID, they really mean it. When I took that test, I had just gotten my driver's license. I still had my permit card, but it had a hole punched in it. So I brought that thinking that was good enough because it's a government-issued photo ID. No, it's not good enough. When it has the hole punched in it, apparently it's like invalid, which makes sense. But like, even though it's my face, my name, all my information, where I live, just because I had the hole punched in it, they wouldn't let me in. And I didn't know what to do. I already had to reschedule my written test because the first time I had it scheduled, I got the flu. So I thought maybe, okay, I have my temporary driver's license, which is just the paper. It doesn't have my picture or anything. I gave that to them. They're like, no, it needs to have a photo of you and your address on it. I'm like, I don't have one of those. Like, I have a passport that's from like 6th grade. And they're like, yeah, that'll work. I'm like, what? That's at home. And so I hop in my car, I drive all the way home, which is like 15 minutes away. I grabbed it, raced back, still under the speed limit, and so they accepted it. So that was a lesson to learn. So when you go take your written or any FAA written exam, make sure you have a valid government issued photo ID. This person said, what are the best tips to study? I can't stand looking at a computer and sitting still. How did you do it? This is like the most relatable question I have on my list. I totally get this. I hate sitting still and looking at a computer all day. I've been editing for 5 hours. So I have a few tips for you. Sadly, a lot of your studying is going to be online or through books and all that stuff. But I found ways to switch up my studying for my written that really helps my brain. Again, all of our brains are different, so your studying method may look completely different from mine. You may love sitting at a desk and reading and playing on your computer and not minding sitting still. But for me and the person asking this question, our brains don't work like that. So just keep that in mind. One of the main things I did to counteract me hating sitting still for a while, I either took my laptop or the books I was studying with out on the town. I took them plane spotting with me. I parked my car in random parking lots or at the airport, or I had a picnic somewhere, and I studied. Just a change of scenery and being outside really helped my brain focus. But the resources I used to study, I used the Angle of Attack online ground school. I did not use that for my initial ground school training. I went in person, at my local ground school, and I learned all that stuff in person, but it had been a while and I wanted a refresher on all the topics and just to clarify a few subjects. So I used the Angle of Attack ground school, and that was amazing. It really helped clarify a few subjects that I was unsure about, and it was amazing. And it was actually pretty entertaining. It wasn't like, oh, I have to watch 5 million videos. No, it was really good. If you don't like any of my other recommendations, please listen to this one, okay? If you're in the United States and taking your FAA written or planning to, you need to have this book. Most likely the more updated version, but this book saved everything. This is the ASA Test Prep book. A really cool thing about this ASA Test Prep book in particular, it comes with 5 free practice tests online, which look almost identical to the FAA written. I actually had some questions on my written that were word for word of what I studied in this book. I know it's a thick book and I'm like, oh, do I have to look through every single question? Yes. If you're like me, you don't want to carry this book around everywhere with you. It's pretty big, like, come on, that's a pretty solid sized book. Luckily, they have an app version of this. I think it costs a little bit of money, but it's 100% worth it. This is what it looks like, and you can get it on the App Store or the Google Play Store for a little bit of money, but it's worth it. This person asked, what influenced me to go down the pilot path? I talked about this a lot in one of my previous videos where I talked about my entire aviation journey. If you haven't seen that video, please go check it out after this one. It's an awesome video. But my biggest inspiration was Stevie. I cannot pronounce her last name for the life of me. She has a YouTube channel, Instagram, and TikTok. Even though she doesn't post a lot, the videos that she does have on YouTube really helped inspire me to start flight training as well. Just being a younger girl getting into aviation can be pretty intimidating, but seeing her thrive and having fun with aviation, and especially general aviation, it really sparked that interest even more. Phoebe, if you're watching this, I love you. Quite a few people ask me this next question. What's the hardest part for you in getting your private pilot's license? Just a reminder, I don't have my private pilot's license yet. I am 16 and not legally able to get my private pilot's license until I'm 17, but the hardest part for me so far was staying motivated. Getting your private pilot's license is hard, but it's definitely not impossible. There's a lot of studying involved, and a really hard part for me was having to miss a lot of social opportunities with my friends. There's a lot of areas in your life that you have to sort of give up or sacrifice to have enough time to get your private pilot's license. But in the end, the reward is definitely worth it. This next question is really good, and I'm really glad that this person asked it. During your training, most of us have hit a point where we thought of giving up. Have you had that experience? What did you do to get past that barrier? A thing I love about my YouTube channel and about all my social medias is that I'm completely transparent with my flight training so that you can get the most realistic look of what flight training looks like. Yes, I have been very unmotivated at times. I know a lot of you hit this barrier too and think of giving up. Me personally, I have never really thought of actually stopping my training, but I have been very unmotivated. A thing that's really important is to not give up. A thing that really helps me to get past this barrier is honestly watching YouTube videos. Like I said earlier, watching Stevie or Bayflight, as you might know her, and a lot of different TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube aviation content creators. Or going down to my local airport and go plane spotting, or just schedule a flight lesson. Nothing better to motivate you again than actually getting back up in the air. And this might sound really cheesy, but I honestly have a Pinterest board. I love my Pinterest board. It's so good. I just have a Pinterest board of what I want to achieve in aviation, and I look at it whenever I'm like, make a Pinterest board. How do you get past that barrier? Let me know in the comments because I'm actually curious of how people do it. What do I need to know when going into flight school? Nothing. That's the point of flight school. The point of the CFIs and people there to teach you and train you is to take you from knowing nothing to being a pilot. But if you want to get ahead, there's a few things that you can do. If you have an iPad, I would highly recommend downloading ForeFlight. ForeFlight is an electronic flight bag. It has everything a pilot needs in the air and on the ground. So I definitely recommend downloading ForeFlight and just getting familiar with it because it can take a while to sort of get used to how that program works. If you don't have an Apple iPad, I think there's a few other apps that are very similar. I think there's a Garmin version, but I'm not sure. I use iPad and ForeFlight has worked flawlessly for me. Another thing that I highly recommend before your first flight lesson is to go on YouTube and look up first flight lesson in a Cessna Skyhawk. You're probably going to be training in a Cessna Skyhawk. Other than that, don't worry about it. You're going to flight training and ground school to learn, so don't feel ashamed if you don't know anything. This person asked, your opinions on Part 61 versus Part 141 flight schools, your journey from start to finish, what was your favorite flying experience? If you don't know what Part 61 versus Part 141 means, let me explain it to you. This definition is from Blue Line Aviation. As a student, you can find training of the same quality under both Parts 61 and 141. However, The two programs offer different experiences in terms of flexibility, instructional style, and flight hour requirements, among other factors. Part 61 offers more flexibility. Trainees may attend part-time as their personal schedule permits. The environment is less structured and the instructor may modify the program to meet a specific student's needs. Part 141 is more like courses you would take in college. It requires full-time attention. So you can do your own research on it. That's basically what it is. If you want more of a structured course, go with 141. If you want more of a relaxed and flexible course, go with Part 61. I don't really have an opinion on either. Both are great and it's basically on what fits you the best. Both of the flight schools that I've gone to were both 61. So I don't have Part 141 experience. So I would say whatever fits you. Please do your research before choosing a flight school. It will save you a lot of money. To answer the second part of this question, want to hear about my flight journey, please go to my other video. I'm not going to explain it all again. And what was my favorite flying experience? I think it was flying the extra 330 LX in Vegas. The Sky Combat Ace experience allows you to go up with certified flight instructors in these insane, most capable aerobatic aircraft. These planes can pull 10 Gs. My dad and I went to Vegas and did this experience and it was insane. We did the Top Gun package, which includes everything from dogfighting to aerobatics and pretty much everything in between. In the dogfight, I was able to pull 7.5 Gs and sustain it for about 10-ish seconds without passing out. And yes, they let you fly the plane. I also did a bunch of maneuvers like hammerheads, tumbles, and tail slides. This experience is one that I will never forget. Okay, this is also a very good question. You guys are great at asking questions, I love it. What's your thoughts on big box 0 to hero flight schools like ATP, Blue Line, and others versus smaller traditional 61s or 141s? From what I've heard about ATP and Blue Line is that they really focus on efficiency because that's their purpose. It's again based on your preferences. If you're looking for a second career and want to get through your flight training pretty efficiently and fast, I would recommend ATP or Blue Line. But if you really want to slow down and enjoy the experience of being a student pilot, which I highly recommend, I would go with a traditional 61 or 141 school. From what I've heard from other people's experiences, ATP and Blue Line and other schools like that are very intense and very difficult because you're learning what normally takes people a few years in under a year. So just keep that in mind. Again, it's all up to you, but for me personally, I would recommend a normal 61 or 141 school. How close am I to getting my private pilot's license? I am 30 weeks away. I am 210 days away. I'm 5,040 hours away. I'm 18.14 million seconds away from getting my private pilot's license. All jokes aside, next January, I should have my private pilot's license. I have to wait till my 17th birthday, which is January 27th. It's so far away. Next year is a good answer. This question asked, favorite landmark to fly by? Right now, my favorite landmark to fly by is my friend's house because she lives like in the practice area where I practice and I always like buzz her house. But my bucket list destination to fly over is the Grand Canyon. And hopefully I get to do that one day. I love this question. What is your favorite plane and why? I have so many different favorite planes because not one plane can fit all the different categories, so I have a few, just bear with me. My favorite plane that I have flown, the extra 330 LX. Because, I mean, look at it, it's amazing. My favorite training plane that I've flown is the Cirrus SR-20 G6. My favorite commercial plane? I have not flown these. It's a 747 SP and a 787-10. Favorite general aviation aircraft is the Kodiak 100. And that is my dream plane, the Kodiak 100. This person asked, what are your dreams in aviation? So my dream right now, again, this can change, is to work for a charter or a corporate company or a person. Like an example is Fly with Owen on YouTube and Instagram. I don't know if he has a TikTok. And he's living the life. I love that. I wanted to do what he does. And that's pretty much it. If you have a question that didn't get answered in this video, make sure you comment it because I will respond and answer your question. If you enjoyed the video, which I hope you did, please make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss another adventure. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!